There's a couple of reasons why you might want to use the church records either instead of or in addition to the civil records. Civil records generally cover less time than the church records. The church has been in the town much longer. The oldest of those civil records are generally early 1800s. They go back to the Napoleonic period when his system of record keeping started to get implemented throughout what would become Italy. And they have a lot of information in them, but because they're only available for fewer years, it doesn't matter how much information is in them. If you need a record from outside of that time, those years, they're no good to you. So the church records cover a lot of the same grounds. They tell you who was born, who their parents were, who got married and died. It tells you their parents' names in those cases too, so it's easier to recognize them. They're very complete. Everybody in town is Catholic and has to do these events through the same church. So they're as complete as the state records, but they cover many, many more years. In Corleone, they take me back to the 1600s. So that's a tremendous amount of information to be able to have access to. I don't have to stop looking for my ancestors in 1820. I can keep going. Sometimes you want to compare the records that are available, the church and the state record, for the same event, because the state record will give you information the church record won't, and vice versa. For instance, I'm interested in who people's godparents are because it tells us about part of their social network that was very important to them, who else they might seek out for any kind of aid in their lives other than their parents, and who their parents trusted, what kind of relationships they chose to make. Other than marriage, godparents is the other kind of kinship that is documented, that's created by the people instead of just being, it happens to you, you're born to a couple. But the civil records will tell me things like how old they were when they got married, or how old the parents were when a baby was born. And they tell me occupations and street addresses. And so those are really great details to be able to add to a biography. In the case of Corleone, the state records are not as legible. The church records are better indexed and the handwriting is better. So overall, I've preferred to use the records for the church in Corleone, but it's not always the case that the church records are better or even available. Sometimes all you have is state records. You work with what you've got.